But first, let's tune to everybody here. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. You all just came through Life Path Mentorship with us. We saw you on Philadelphia just a few weeks ago. As we're concluding that, let me start with Tanya. Tanya, give me like 30 seconds to your life. What's it like? What's a snapshot of who Tanya is, your best fit type, and what about you that we need to know, I guess?
Oh, okay. So I'm an ISTJ and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been listening to your podcast since 2010. And I signed up for the profile training course, I think in 2021, which I absolutely loved. I've always been really interested, I mean, maybe for 15 years or so, interested in personality type. It started because I really couldn't find my footing in my career. And so I worked with a career coach, did the Myers-Briggs. That's sort of how I got into it. Always tested as an INTJ for years and years. And then realized finally that I was an ISTJ, which clicks. And so I did your profiler training, just learned so much more. And then I met somebody at one of your live events who recommended the PLP class. And so I love the work that you do, and just think you have so much knowledge and insight. I love learning about myself. It's just kind of a forever lifelong pursuit. And so the idea of doing the deep dive in every, cognitive function is just fascinating. We did that a little bit in the profiler training, when we did the embodiment exercises, but to kind of spend like a whole week and have a deeper dive is so fantastic. And then, so I wasn't going through a transition necessarily. It was sort of like just like strengthen in general, like do a deeper dive, learn more about myself, and therefore learn more about how I relate to other people, where other people are coming from. Relationships are essentially the backbone of life. So it's so good.
Fantastic. So what I hear you saying then is it really tuned you into the relationships in your life. That's what you were using this program to attune to or to be helped with. And I'm sure there was some other learnings as well, but let's put a pin in that because I can circle back. Let me head over let's go to Carol. I'm just going to go kind of clockwise as I see you all. Hi, Carol. What's your best fit type? Give us a quick snapshot of your station.
Hey, Joel. My best fit type is INFJ.
Yeah.
I live in Dallas, Texas. I haven't actually been following you all for very long, but I've been following this kind of material probably since I was in high school. So around January, I looked up and said, I would really like to go to some kind of live event that I really get to do this with other people. And then your email popped up about this live event, and I thought that's really pretty odd that came up right then. So I checked in with everybody, and my circle is like, that is really right up your alley. You should do that. And another thing that kind of was a good synergy was when you said it was in Philadelphia, I have somebody in Philadelphia I could stay with. So it was a twofer in that way to rekindle a relationship. So I've always, I take the online tests, we all do, but they seem very static. And I didn't even have a clue what there could be other components. And I would say also in addition to that, knowing my type, I had kind of a prejudice that being an intuitive, that I automatically cannot connect with anybody who's a sensor. I mean, I would say that, right? That was definitely in my thinking. And so when we started the 8 weeks of every week going into in depth on that particular cognitive function, that they're all vital to us, kind of like we're all human beings. We all have to pay our bills. We all have to balance our bank accounts. It doesn't matter what our type is. There's just functions of life you have to attend to be healthy. And it was kind of that kind of audit of doing all these functions and saying, how do you incorporate them in your life? But pretty shortly, I figured out that I had disrespected a lot of people in my life because I just didn't give them very much credit for their type because it was so different than mine. And so for me, it became just an exercise of everybody in my life who has any of these types and they lead with them, I need to give them more respect. The format was excellent. For me, it was custom made to have a presentation, but a structure sharing and then assignments that we're working on. So there's an accountability, not in a hard way, but like we have something purposeful to do together. So that meant that everybody sharing their stories along the way was just more reinforcement, more case study for like, oh, I see how this works. Sometimes when you hear it presented, it doesn't quite sink in. When then you see hear somebody reflect how it is in their life, it clicks. It just clicks. So then to cap it all off and say, I didn't quite understand what the audit was going to be when we live in person, but you as coaches are so beautifully wired together to create a level of energy that brought us all in. There's a lot of depth that anybody considering this, it's not just Myers-Briggs. You're constantly bringing in more information about neuroscience, other ways of looking at this. There's just depth. This is the Myers-Briggs is like you always said, it's a base, but you've added so much more.
Yeah.
So the material plus the opportunity to dialogue with other people and really hear from other people how these things play out. Then finally the live event where you get to be more personal. You get to share things that like, I haven't really thought this through, and this is the perfect cohort to do this with. It was a fabulous experience. And I do remember the people who were, where I was January doing the exact same thing, listening to people where one guy just said, just do it. Just absolutely do it. Don't hesitate. It's like, I would say the same thing. Just do it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying all that. That's fantastic. I told you I was going to ask you questions, but I did not tell you what to say. So I appreciate all those wonderful things. So thank you. I want to put a pin in you for a second, Carol. Oh, Jimmy's one of those pesky sensors you're talking about. Right, Jimmy? What's your best fit type, Jimmy? What's your station in life? Let's go over to you real quick.
All right. Yeah, I'm Jimmy, ESTP, computer programmer. I was coerced into taking this, but I'm really glad I was. My wife signed up originally, told me it would be better for me, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And like we do weekly Zoom sessions where you tackle a function, and that was fun. The first one was extroverted sensing, so I had a lot of fun on that one. But it really helps you understand and expand on each function. And in the end, the culminating event was priceless. Like, I didn't expect it to be what it was. I honestly expected to have a good time, meet new people, have some neat experiences, but it was a once in a lifetime thing that can't really be explained except for it will make you a better person. If you have anything wrong, if you have, I don't know, depression, anxiety, some unresolved issue in life, Antonia will zoom into it and help you through it.
Very good. Thank you, Jimmy, for the vote of confidence and the kind words. Appreciate it. See, I do want to hear from you too. Snapshot. I'm going to come back around, everybody. I'm giving a signal to everybody because I know some of you are judgers. You like a little bit of advanced warning. So I'm probably going to come back and circle around and say, was there anything surprising or maybe enlightening, surprising, like a key moment? And then also, if somebody's trying to make a good decision tonight, what advice would you have for them? We can end with that, and then we can move on to our vital sign check-in tonight. So, but Sia, I do want to hear from you. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sia. I am from Sydney, Australia. I saw a few Australians in the chat, so hello, welcome. And my best fit type is INTJ. And how I ended up joining this class is all of a sudden I was looking to do this for a while because I also follow the Personality Hacker podcast, and I'm interested in this kind of content. And what happened was my schedule suddenly freed up, and by that I mean I just suddenly got fired from my job. So all of a sudden, yay! Oh, let's do it. My biggest takeaway, like I will concur everything that Tanya, Jimmy, and Carol said. So what for me was what I kind of gained from this course. Have you ever had basically bought a book at the store? It's how to book, how to be better business manager, or how to, any personal development book. And you read his advice and you're like, yeah. And then have you ever had that question? And does this apply to like everyone? Like, whatever they say, oh, go and do this thing. And I'm like, really? Like anybody who does this thing, like, it just seemed like, but the people are so different. Like, how do you, literally everyone? Like, or just, Like, and I thought, like, maybe that does not work for me. It feels like, you know, if you have that question, like, and then you follow advice and it doesn't work, and you're like, am I stupid, or like, what's going on here? And so what this course did for me, what I really enjoyed, like the most beneficial thing, was they, Antonia and Joel give specific advice, like based on your personality type, based on your life situation. So it's not just a book where you're like, oh, do this, you'll get this result. Yeah, that does not work necessarily based on where you are at life, your specific type, your specific age, very important, you know, where you are at life. So for me, this was the most invaluable, that, yeah, like just that, you know, specific targeted, like that, just that one thing that I needed. Yeah, and no book can tell you that, because no book knows you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how does a book know where you're at? So if you're looking for a specific targeted thing, like you've just been trying a bunch of stuff, it doesn't work, well, you know, sometimes maybe you need like really targeted, like specific advice from, you know, expert and genuine people, you know, who care, and this stuff actually works. So I would say go for it, you know. And just to say what Jimmy said is, I also came kind of knowing it'll be great, but yeah, it blew my mind. It was even better than I expected. So yeah.
That's great. Okay, so don't want to take too much more time, and I really appreciate all of you giving us your time tonight. And it's a gift to not only, you know, us here on the team, but also somebody watching right now that's looking at you going, okay, I vibe with that person. That looks like something maybe I'd be interested in. So thank you so much. Let's go back through the same order. What's something maybe surprised you, like a key moment? And then if you have any advice for making a good decision, Anya, I'll kick it over to you. And by the way, I want to end with Jonathan. I'll give you a minute or so to give a couple comments. I know you've been through this a couple times. What would you say, Tanya?
Well, I would say that, I mean, the live event was the biggest surprise and the most delightful part of the entire experience. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't have a lot of expectation, other than kind of getting to know all these people that I was just on this, you know, course with for 8 weeks. But the event, like many people have said, completely blew me away. Like I describe it as a spiritual experience. I feel like I was kind of like totally opened up and felt like just this incredible sort of peace. There was like incredible vulnerability. Everyone, you know, is working through different things. And there was just this incredible coming together and sharing and support. Like, it's like, I don't know how you guys can do that. And kind of, you guys are like this safe container, and you're like, all of these people come in and they can sort of be their true selves. And then you help facilitate, and everyone's sort of like supporting each other. It's like miraculous. So that was the biggest surprise and benefit. And I felt almost, you know, like I was sort of like, you know, floating for like a couple weeks after that experience.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Tanya. I appreciate that. How about you, Carol? Anything you'd like to add in about?
I would echo how Tanya said. It was very articulate. I would say also that you don't necessarily have to have a burning issue, but you might have one that's like a pebble in your shoe and you don't even know how to name it. And in the safety of this group and the trustworthiness of your insight and your comments, that you're safe to bring it out and say, I've got this thing. I'm not quite sure how to look at it. And your perspective on it came from an angle I never even thought of. Anyone out there who's an INFJ, you know how difficult sometimes it is to even name your own feelings. And so finding the tools through the other cognitive functions to be able to sit down, name those, and have them help Antonia help me identify something that was confusing, the difference between grief and guilt, and which one was causing me trouble. And I've been to counselors. None of them have quite that perception that you get when you go through the cognitive functions. And that was an incredible relief, but it wasn't something glaring. My life wasn't halted for it, but it was kind of limping in that area. And that was deeply helpful. So I feel like there was something else I wanted to add, but you know, on the spot, I don't think that fast, but that's okay. You all create such a lovely atmosphere that whoever we are, whatever we bring, is totally loved and accepted. And you can't wait to get all of us out in the open and help us use this material for our benefit. So if anything that would tip it for somebody to come. We get so few opportunities in modern life to connect at a deep level, a deep, safe level. This is a continental divide for me to be able to have done this in a safe way. I just feel like I never want to let these people go because that we have a coinage with each other of understanding these things. So you take any opportunity you can to connect in a deep and honest way. And that's why I think you should do it. I will say I was apprehensive about the live event. Some people's like, oh, I've got my 8 weeks done. I got the material. I've had the Zoom, we've lived through Zoom through COVID. And I had a friend said, just go. I mean, even the day before I was, should I go to that or not? I don't know where it is. Like, just go. That was an ISTJ in my life, by the way. So thank God for them. Yes, so going to the live event was a big surprise, apprehension about meeting new people. And then when I got this, I was like, I'm so glad I included that. So glad, so glad. And I stayed for the bonus, and I did the mind mapping. What did you call it with the mind reading?
Brain imaging, EEG brain imaging.
Yeah, that. And the extra bonus where you talked about shadow function, and that was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So
Great.
there you
Thank
go.
you. Yeah, Sia, you also did the EEG, right? I don't know if Jimmy did. I don't think Tanya got a chance to, but okay, Sia, Jimmy, and Carol all did EEG, which is awesome. Which there's gonna be a chance tonight. It was on that earlier slide that I said we're gonna use all that, but we are gonna give away some EEG brain imaging sessions tonight. So stay tuned at the end. I've got some information for people on here. Thank you for that, Carol. That's fantastic. I appreciate you saying all that. And I think you're speaking to the bonding and the trust that's built over those 8 weeks. By the time you get to the live event, there's a lot of pre-work that's done. So the vulnerability doesn't happen out of a vacuum. We spend time, building toward that as a group. So I appreciate you reflecting on that. And thank you for coming to the event. I'm glad. I didn't know you were that close to not coming. Or if you did tell me that, I forgot it. But
don't you know INFJs? Don't you know us?
Yes, yes, I do, of course.
So I've got everything I need. It's like, get her pushed over the line and get her to go. So
thanks, Carol.
Yes.
I appreciate
you're
that.
welcome. Thank you both.
Thank you. Jimmy, any comments? Anything you'd like to throw in the ring and add?
Surprising. Right?
What surprised me was the group cohesion, like how close everybody got, how trusting and vulnerable and open everybody was. Like the Zoom sessions kind of were icebreakers. They got us to know each other, but the culmination and the real event was in Philadelphia, will be in Gettysburg. But the trust and unity amongst everybody and the understanding, like Antonia really knows her shit. And she just zoomed into my brain and other people's brains. And I was just like, how does she know all this? And then we talked later on how you do. And it's just amazing. And she uses that to help you. So I say, do the Zoom, do the live event, and totally trust in the group. And Antonia and Joel and Jonathan, they're all so great.
Fantastic. We're going to get started tonight, by the way. Whether you're going to join this event or not, we're going to go through some vital sign checkup here in just a moment. I want to give Sia a moment because I, ask you if you have anything to add in, Sia. Jonathan's going to make some comments, and then we're going to get right into checking some vital signs.
The last thing I have to add, kind of like to piggyback of what Jimmy said, just in terms of the actual information, like, those 8 weeks, each week there'll be learning, like to, a lecture to get through essentially. And I mean, it's online content, so you can do it at your own time. And I just wanted to say that was really good. Like it was very clear, like just for somebody who's looking like, what kind of information are going to learn? I believe it was top-notch information. And if I ever unclear on the function, I would like to go back to those particular slides and that particular lectures. I think they were very succinct and kind of just to the point, and the information was a lot more comprehensive than I kind of expected, like as in you'll get function, for example, introverted thinking, and it will also mention how it's shows up in relationships, in business, in like all these other areas, like what it's looking for, how society perceives it. So it was just like, whoa, it was just a very comprehensive information, I thought, from perspectives I haven't even considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I echo to what everybody else said about group cohesions, vulnerabilities, the sharing, and the help, like all of that. Yes.
Very good.
That's for me.
Thank you all for sharing that.
Mhm.
Jonathan, I want to give you an opportunity. So Jonathan's facilitated this 5 or 6 times now. Every time he comes on, he's part of our team in facilitation, helping behind the scenes, but also here in front as well. Jonathan, we have some comments or a question as well about, will this challenge someone's faith background? And I think that's a really important question. People have some core beliefs they bring in with this. Maybe you want to speak to that, but also just, you've been through this enough. What are your comments, and how would you see it?
Yeah, I think the reason the 8 functions work is because that's something we all share in common. There's a universalist about the 8 functions that we have. And most of our life, I mean, everyone who knows type, we're going through life and we have the car model. We're using these 4 functions, but there's 4 that are kind of running in the background, and doing a full audit through the Life Path program is a great way to stop and pause. And it makes me think about, like, on road trips with my family growing up, sometimes my dad would get lost and would not ask for directions. And we call this a life path. It's a journey, and sometimes we do get lost in life. Sometimes we have to pull over. We have to ask for directions. God forbid, sometimes we get stuck. We have to call a tow truck. I mean, there's a lot of times that we have to ask for help. Now, I'm an ENFJ, best fit type, so it comes as no surprise that I think the reason this works is because we're not doing it alone. We're doing it together. And so the people that come together around the table with Joel and Antonia, Tanya, you said it the best. There's a nice, safe container where we're able to be vulnerable, but not vulnerable for the sake of just exposing ourselves and things that we don't feel so great about. But it's really about, like, finding, wow, there is deep truth within me. There's deep power and strength that I can call upon to make it through life, to find my way in direction, whether it be direction in career or a direction in relationship. I know for myself, back in 2016, I signed up, started listening to the podcast because I wanted to be a better husband to my wife. That's the real reason I started up with this, is because I was like, I need a model to relate to her in a better way. As far as, like, questioning your beliefs, I mean, there are plenty of people of different faith backgrounds. I mean, I'm a Christian. I know Carol, we've shared faith before. There's so many opportunities. The program itself is not designed to question anyone's beliefs. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to get you back on track with your life's purpose and journey, whatever that may be. And so we use the cognitive functions to do that. And we do it in community. That's the point. We do it together. We don't just sit back and learn. And that's the best part, is Joel and Antonia have crafted such a program that you're learning and doing. So if you're the kind of person that just likes to learn a lot and you don't really spend a lot of time living and getting out there, this is going to be good for you. But if you're also the kind of person that's kind of feel like you're just banging your head up against the wall, doing a lot of life and not really processing or learning anything, this program is also right for you. So I hope you join.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I want to just thank you all so much. Thank you so much for coming on and being so gracious with your time and energy, all the kind words and offerings. Much appreciated. Can't wait to have you be part of this Life Path program. If this is a fit for you, I think now's the time to do it. Myself and Antonia, we put our entire essence into this program. We really love it. It changes us. We show up. We give our 110% on these calls and at this live event. We want to show up for you in your real life, on the ground of your life, where you're at right now. Meet you there, help you start to move toward the things that you want, the outcomes you want. Maybe it's not just about goals. Sometimes we want to optimize the self. That's okay too. It's not just about getting the outcomes, also becoming something different. That can be a good measurement tool or a good reason to join this. Thanks so much for being here and being part of this. Talk soon. Peace.